Okay, so we started this, Lisa and I made this gentle commitment to this offering, both as an offering to you and to the world, and but certainly, as the Course would suggest, for our own healing. And the healing comes through always. And so Lisa was just sharing a couple of things, and one she was sharing about her little doggie who's 14 years old and has some uh, just signs of age, diabetes, and probably not walking and getting around as well as it used to, and not being able to control bodily functions as well as it used to, and those kinds of things. And I just thought I'd take a moment here to talk about that, and that our little critters, our little pets, or some pets aren't so little. They're like a horse. We get really close to these. They become such mighty companions on our journey, and they represent love itself, and they become real teachers of love. And when it's time to let them go, I find it very helpful to remember that we can we'll miss them. We go through a mourning process as we would with any loved one, but the memory of the love they represent is eternal. That's what we are. And so that can be a very, very helpful way to transition. And then eventually, as the Course says, we remember only what God created, what we created with God. And so it will be the memories that bring smiles to our faces and joy to our hearts. Ultimately, as we really forgive the attachment that we have in form and remember the eternal unity we have in spirit. And then you were going to share a little something else about how you're feeling the practice.
Yeah, um, I'm just becoming aware of even in this short time, lessons, 1 through 8 that
Mm-hmm.
we've done, just gentle shifts in um, my awareness and how I'm walking through the world. Um, Something's shifting. It's hard
Yeah.
to put words on.
Yeah. Okay. So Lisa's just saying that hopefully you can hear a little bit, but I'll just repeat just that she's feeling these little shifts. Something is shifting and it's hard to put words to it. And guess what? We we get to this point where words can't describe it. So that's when we just sort of smile and laugh because that's the joining, that's the unity. We know what that is, and it's kind of funny. Um, and that's just such a beautiful thing. And so hopefully maybe you're beginning to have these little glimmers of where the light starts to come through. So
So with that, Jeff,
yeah.
I'm looking at our last session, um, how much the past, like a
Hmm.
story in the past in our mind. So it did bring a smile on the last 2 days, um, that I'm thinking of basically nothing.
Yeah.
So like when I would think that, it did bring a smile to my face. I'm like, well, look at that.
See,
So
yeah,
yeah,
congratulations. So she's this smile, this kind of joy that comes when we remind ourselves that I'm thinking of nothing.
nothing.
Yeah, now that's advanced, Lisa. That's advanced because the ego wants us to get a hold of that, and especially the lessons that we're going to cover today. The ego gets a hold of that and says, "How dare you? How dare I spent years learning this craft, or going through years of college and learning all these things, and and it can be a very helpful profession, and playing our role in society and all that. And here's the Course saying, you know nothing, which reminds me of this short story about Socrates sitting. You could imagine Socrates sitting on a hilltop, maybe meditating, and a young student comes up to him and says, you know, Socrates, they say you're the wisest man in all the land. And probably without missing a beat, he turns to them and says, well, if that is true, it is because I know that I don't know. And that's exactly that to be able to have that experience and to be able to say that and mean it is everything. That's the irony. I know nothing is is a thought process and experience that begins to reveal everything. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to begin today with legs up on the wall. You're going to, if you're like Lisa and me and a lot of the Avita yoga students, you're going to come to really appreciate this shape with your legs up on the wall, your head supported on the bolster. We will be using a strap today, so have a strap handy. Now, how do you gauge your distance from the wall? The back of the pelvis and the low back has to be flat on the floor, and the knees need to be straight. So if you're too close, either the pelvis will come up or the knees will buckle a little bit. So usually it's about 10, 12, 15 inches away from the wall. Everybody's different, and over a long period of time, as we release this restriction in the knees and the ankles and the low back, people develop the potential to start to move in a little closer to the wall, but that's not the goal. It just might be the case for some. Above all, it's about this practice. You need to know it's not about advancing the shape. The ego would have us advance the shape, thinking that there is a way to perfect the shape. But perfecting the shape is futile. Knowing your peaceful self is very attainable and the most natural thing we can do. And the ego has turned the table on that. And so that's why we need a practice like the Course. There are also many other practices. They all point to the same truth, true self. Hopefully you've been listening to my words with your eyes closed and your self just experiencing this shape. And we'll begin by bringing the right knee toward the right shoulder, interlocking the fingers behind the thigh. The first fingers close into the crease, the seam in the back of the knee, and then the heel just rests down toward the buttock. As I mentioned, there's no perfecting the shape, but we can perfect the inner experience in the shape. So you apply just the proper pressure to dissolve some patterns, dissolve some blockages, begin that dissolution process. Let your mind slow down, let your breath slow down. Just experience the shape. And now release your leg back up onto the wall. Interlock your fingers behind the left knee and bring the knee toward your shoulder, the thigh toward the belly, and you feel this pinch in the crease of the hip, in the groin. Get to know that, get a feeling for that. Head heavy. Lesson number 9. I see nothing as it is now. In this first paragraph, it says, this idea obviously follows the two preceding ones. But while you may be able to accept it intellectually, it is unlikely that it will mean anything to you as yet. I love how gentle this practice is. Really, really is all about meeting us exactly where we are, the same way we use the Avita Yoga shapes to meet the body where it is. The Course meets us mentally, spiritually, exactly where we are. And it uses everything in our lives to, without requiring any changes to our lives, to evolve. And it says, however, understanding is not necessary at this point. Oh, phew. You mean I don't need to understand this? Thank you for that. In fact, the recognition that you do not understand is a prerequisite for undoing your false ideas. Oh, hallelujah. I can be a little bit clueless. I can be a little bit uncertain. I don't need to understand this. And lo and behold, that works in my favor. These exercises are concerned with practice, not with understanding. That cannot be overemphasized. The ego only wants to understand. The ego wants to keep you from having the experience of consistent peace and happiness. And then it says, okay, let's release the leg up. And now the strap. So you'll need your strap. You're going to bring the strap around the ball of the right foot. Heel back up on the wall, hands high. Now the left leg stays relaxed. The right leg begins to activate. The toes to you. You bring the top of the foot towards you and you extend the knee. Firm the thigh, extend the knee. It's not an exercise. It's not an exercise in burning calories. It's not an exercise in developing strength. It's not even an exercise in flexibility. Mobility maybe, but not flexibility. They are two different things. We want mobility. So if you're too close to the wall, these cues that I just said are going to feel, it's going to feel like it's too much, too strong. So you need to back up a little bit and give yourself plenty of room to have the legs strong and straight. And just keep the heel on the wall. Feel the muscles in the thigh engage. Lots of muscle cells there from the kneecap all the way up across the hip. That's really good. Now put the strap around the ball of the left foot. Firm thigh, flex the ankle, extend the toes. Now your heart, which is pumping the blood, is at the lowest point. So it has to pump the blood up to your toes and up to your fingers. It's a challenge to the heart and to the circulatory system. It's a lovely, lovely challenge because it asks us to work a little bit, maybe a little bit harder, but more efficiently. And it does not ask your heart to work faster. Squeeze the thigh, extend the knee, flex the ankle, open the sole of the foot, drop your shoulders. That's good. Release, set the strap to the side. Interlock your fingers behind the right thigh and bring the knee toward the center of your chest now. So we just come in on the groin a little bit, We move into the restriction of the hip some. Feel how different it is, knee to the center chest versus knee to the right shoulder. Steady, consistent effort. So picking up where I left off, you do not need to practice what you already understand. It would indeed be circular to aim at understanding and assume that you have it already. We want to get out of that vicious circle. Again, it's a statement that just says, we need not understand, stay with the practice. I see nothing as it is now. And then it asks us to practice. It says, for example, I do not see this typewriter as it is now. I do not see this keyboard or this phone or this computer screen as it is now. Release your leg up. Bring the left knee toward the center chest. Open your eyes. What do you see? This knee, this foot, this leg. I do not see them as they are now. Even when we observe our own body, we're observing the past. We bring the past in to the body and into the present moment, and we even begin to argue for our limitations. We argue for the blockage. I can't resolve this. I can't do this, or I can't do that. If it's the way I see it now, then it's going to always be that way. See, that's the voice of the ego, continually recalling the past. Huge power, huge healing power in being able to acknowledge, seeing the body, or acknowledging I do not see my body as it is now. Release your leg up. And bend your knees. Push yourself back. That's it. Stretch your legs, stretch your arms. And then roll onto one side. When you're ready, push yourself up. Have a comfortable seat. Yeah. So this is a comfortable seat for Lisa. It may not be a comfortable seat for you. It's fine. You may sit on your cushion. You may lean against the wall. You could sit in a chair. Something comfortable. Gently close your practice and open the rest of your day. Bring your hands to your heart. Namaste. Now gently open your eyes. Softly open your eyes and notice the one or two things that come to mind as you see it and apply the lesson. I do not see this blank as it is now. And smile. Namaste.